Good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to a dual presentation. My name is Uiterwijk. We are pure functionality in the Netherlands since 2016. Prior to Pure, we had a Dutch quiz system for several years.
Lilian Vergeldt. We would like to get global support for improving the current user interface. With this, we want to improve efficiency and job satisfaction, mainly for all editors and key users who work in Pure on a daily basis. Let's start the presentation.
I mean, it's a young university, right? Maastricht University is not held back by archaic traditions. It's really able to move quickly into the future.
There is always the idea of what is the added value. How can the society profit from this?
Because I want to make money, I go to London in the financial world and make way more money.
Maastricht University is the most international university in the Netherlands, and with 18,000 students and 4,400 employees is still growing. The university stands out for its innovative education model, international character, and multidisciplinary approach to research and education. In our presentation, we would like to look at what we think are great candidates for improvement with little adjustments. The three we are going to address are the DOI link on output records, the editorial overview, and external affiliations on internal persons. I now give the floor to my colleague Lilian.
In the daily work of a research output editors, a lot of unnecessary scrolling is needed. When validating research outputs, you have to scroll down to the DOI, or click on it, and then scroll back up again. Also in other editor tasks, a lot of scrolling is needed. To avoid a text claw or the cubital tunnel syndrome as a medical term, we submitted an improvement request. But what are we talking about? I'll show you. I want to show you how we validate research outputs. We open the output, scroll down to the DOI, open it, and then in the output we scroll back up and then start validating the information in the record and here in the article. Because you scroll down and up, it's not always easy to use the F3 button, because if I use F3 here and go to add electronic, I go very fast to the DOI, but then when I want to go up, I have to type another search string. So in the daily work, it's not always easy to use this function. Luckily, we don't have too much outputs in the fields of physics, where over 2,000 co-authors are almost standard. Not only when we are validating an output, we have to open the DOI. Also, with other validation tasks and deduplicate tasks, we need the DOI. I'll show you some examples. For instance, when validating this journal, I open the journal. I can look it up at Ulrich's web, but sometimes you can't find it really fast. So what we do normally is open the relations, click on the article in this case, scroll down to the DOI, and here we have a link instead. When opening the journal, we see the ISSN, and that's what we need to validate this journal. Another example would be author collaborations. if we open this Farmer Co consortium, there's no title here, and obviously this is some kind of abbreviation. So again, we open the relations, open the article, scroll down to the DOI, open it, and look for the complete information on the collaboration. The same goes for deduplicate titles, deduplicate of DOIs, and the deduplication of events. Also, we check regularly on the publication status. With all those tasks, we have to open the DOI. The most efficient way or the solution would be to include a DOI link or a link in the top right corner of an output. And we have some examples of that too, because when we go to, and I click this open, to the updates from online sources, we see here in the upper right corner the direct link to the DOI. How many time would we save if this link would be in all the other outputs? In the next item, Meer will show you more unnecessary scrolling.
I would like to address some functionalities in Pure that editors and also administrators encounter in their daily work. Some of them are a daily nuisance, and a few little adjustments would make working in Pure a lot easier and a lot more fun. The main goal is lesser clicks and lesser scrolling and a more clear overview for all faculty editors and administrators. I picked out 4 items with the hope that these only take minor adjustments in Pure, but with a great outcome. The 4 items I want to show you here are the filters in the editor mode for research outputs, the saving of these filters, the management of saved filters, and the tasks overview. I hope in the end to make improvement requests for Elsevier of these items, and then with some votes from other users, get these improvement requests on the top of the list. I will now demonstrate these items in Pure. Starting Pure for editors, the first screen that opens is the editorial overview. The first selection then is almost always research outputs. For validation or making publication selections, we all use the filtering at the top. Find functionality, because certain selections you don't have to make over and over again. When you have your selection complete, just choose the pin and save it with a name. It shows here one filter that's already in my list, and you can see how many sub-filters are used to get the selection I need. But often I need to change a filter or add something to it. For instance, I can add another output type to the list. Luckily, in this case, I only need to add one subtype. If I wanted to select all subtypes, I need to select a whole lot of bullets. But then, where is the Save button? The only thing I can do now is to pin the adjusted selection with the same name again. Then I have 2 filters with the same name. I go and find the old one to delete. Wouldn't the Save and Save As button be a good improvement? That brings me to number 2. Many editors, and for sure all administrators, gathered more and more filters. The more filters you save and find functionality when starting with Pure, the more it becomes almost impossible to find the filter you want to use. The more filters you have, the longer the list of filters becomes. So looking for the right one can be a challenge scrolling up and down, especially because the list is not ordered alphabetically and I cannot change the order. With more than 50 filters and growing, wouldn't it be nice if you could order or group your filters in some manner that makes sense to you? Wouldn't that be a good improvement? Bringing me to number 3, my history and my favorites. Also a fine functionality, but some time ago, with a new release, we had a small shock to discover that our history was no longer available. We got phone calls from our faculty editors asking where the history went. Luckily, we soon discovered that it was not gone, it had just moved from the right part of the screen to the left. Unfortunately, when you have a lot of filters and they are not grouped in any way, the history moved further and further downwards for nobody to be seen right away. To get there, we need to scroll our mouse again. And why this move? It brings me to number 4, the right part of the screen. The history was clearly visible for all editors. What happened? There was no more space here for the history because of an improvement in the tasks that most editors have displayed here. Don't you agree that the information to each item takes up way too much space? Only the item without the repeated sentence are waiting to be pushed to the next workflow step over and over again would be clear enough for everybody, I think. A small adjustment, I hope so. Hoping for your support on some of these items, I now give the floor back to my colleague Lilian for the next part of our presentation. Thank you very much.
Our university regularly attracts new scientists. We would like to include a publication list in Pure. Depending on the options, we import from online sources or import a BibTeX file. In all cases, it's a time-consuming job, especially if they have already published a lot. Because no external affiliation can be stored in the person record, one or more external organizations must be added to each individual output from previous affiliations. The active internal affiliations must be unchecked. We suggested the functionality to add external affiliations to the person record in Pure. It would be extra helpful if the external affiliations would be added automatically to an output record, if the publication date matches the affiliation date. It should also be possible to add external affiliations on all other content types, like activities, prices, press media, and datasets. In the next example, you will see all the actions needed to give you an idea how much time could be saved. The appointment of Associate Professor Arns triggered us to bring our improvement proposal to your attention. For many outputs, he had 3 simultaneous affiliations. So to add external affiliations, we open the publication, we go to the DOI or press F3, add electronic, open the DOI, and we see that Mr. Arns has 3 affiliations. We go back to the output in Pure, edit the author, untick the internal affiliation and choose Add External. I've done this many times before, so I know it's on the second page. I now add the second affiliation. And the third. New care group in Nijmegen. Update. And we can now validate this record.
and save it. Now we can open the second one. Again, press F3, open the DOI, check the affiliations, again 3, back to the author, edit, and we do all the actions again. You can imagine if one has a lot of publication, this takes a lot of time. In the case of Martin Arndt, he had over 110 publications.
These are the improvement requests we mentioned during this presentation. So, no criticism, only positive feedback. Our goal is less scrolling and clicking our mouse, saving everybody time and effort. Thank you for your attention.
Excellent. Thank you, Mira and Lilian, very much. I think so. It takes great patience to walk us through the repetitive use of some of these things. And I think while as you note, the functionality is really exceptional, it's the using it every day and the motions that we go through and what is more important to us than time, right? So I think that's really great. So we do have a couple of questions here. So one, yes, please vote, because this one came from Elsevier. Please give them the issue so that they can vote, because I think people in general want this. And this is a great way to communicate so that we can all kind of vote for the same thing. And you did such a nice job of articulating it. So one question here was whether we have the JIRA numbers and how we intercommunicate with each other regarding JIRA levels. And I don't know whether there's a way to do that or not, but that would seem to be something, if there's a place where we can post them, or I don't know.
Well, we at the Netherlands, we have a pure user group, and within this pure user group, we have teams, and there we talk about all the issues related to that specific team, and we ask to vote for those JIRA issues, and then they become visible for the rest too. Maybe, and I sometimes did that too, also for one of the issues we mentioned today, is to publish them on the Slack environment. So that would be maybe an option to share those JIRA issues with the rest of the community.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And somebody made the suggestion to move this into the forum for a conversation to how the different user groups can communicate across JIRAs, because I think that would be a really great thing.
I think that it's already happening, that the how do you call them, the voorzitters, the presidents of those pure user groups, that they already communicate together with some of those issues, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's really great. So in addition to sort of communicating across JIRA groups, I guess, is there anything else that any other ideas you have about how to kind of be more aligned in our requests for increased functionality or changes in how things are presented? Any other thoughts?
Mer, would you like to talk?
Well, maybe Elsevier has good suggestions how we could do this on a better level, because it's not easy to get our improvements on the top of the list. That's really what we want. We think there's a lot of really good work being done on new functionalities, but we sometimes forget to look at the real user of the system all the way, and that's the user interface. So that's why we are here today.
Yeah.
And the voting system, yeah, it's not always easy to work with that. We can handle this in the Netherlands, but we should take this worldwide, I think.
Maybe I can add something to that. when I add a new issue, I tend to look at all the issues that are around this subject and look if there are any other issues already there before I add a new one. And if there's already one there, I vote for that one. So I think it's a kind of an obligation to everybody before you add a new issue that you get a quick look around, not for a day, but just get a quick look around and then see if there's already somebody that issued this before.
Right. So again, I commend you for your presentation in its precision and patience of walking us through what repeated motion looks like in this case, and also for being very responsible in how you use the JIRA tickets, because I think everybody doesn't do that either. So thank you, thank you, thank you.